This is Max Gravett of Hash Systems. The purpose of this video is to present an update on Milestone 1 for our Web3 Foundation grant, Native Bitcoin Vaults. We've completed Milestone 1. As a reminder, Native Bitcoin Vaults is a Substrate application, client and palette and other services that enables Substrate users to set an XPub, set their extended public key for Bitcoin onto save it to a palette. Also use that to create new vaults within the palette, which are essentially output descriptors describing multisig wallets, and so they could specify the number of users or Substrate addresses that they want for the wallet, and of course the threshold. They can also use the palette and the wallet to generate receiving addresses, and also of course spend Bitcoin. A few changes that we made from our original proposal, just in terms of the technology. We initially expected to use either this application, Spectre Desktop or Caravan, as the signer and integrate with those. But we instead, because they didn't support the output descriptors as well as we had hoped, we instead opted to use Blue Wallet, which I think is a better user experience. It communicates with the web application through QR codes. They're generated here in this application and also generated on the web client, and communicate back and forth that way. This is open source React Native application available on both app stores. One other change, not a change, we weren't sure at the time when we made the proposal of whether BDK, the library that we're using, was going to support no STD in order to be compiled into WASM. And it doesn't yet, but it will. The dependencies are both now supporting no STD, so we're just waiting for a release and then a release of BDK in order to support that. In the meantime, just as we mentioned in the proposal for our contingency plan, we would host the BDK with a series of services that we developed using the Rocket framework, and then those are invoked by an off-chain worker to be able to run the native Rust code. Also, one other change: we were initially going to have the XPub set on the identity palette, but as we looked at that, we did not want, when a user submits an update to their identity, the palette will drop their judgments for like verified identity and so forth, and we didn't want to do that just when a user updates their XPub. So instead of using the identity palette, we just have that go directly against our custom native Bitcoin vault palette. And I'll give a demo of this in just a second. For quick architecture, using the mobile app Blue Wallet, as I mentioned, is connecting to the web client, communicating via QR code. We did build out a custom NPM package, which shares a lot of the code from Blue Wallet, but we extracted that into an NPM package so we could easily reuse it in our web client. Web client is Quasar Vue.js application. It's using Polkadot.js browser plugin to sign extrinsics, which it's submitting to the blockchain for extrinsics like setting the XPub, creating a new vault, editing a vault, creating a new proposal to that vault, and its extrinsics, of course, are saving information into storage. Then if some of those actions require BDK, the off-chain worker then picks up those items, calls the appropriate services on the BDK endpoint, and those may communicate, like for checking balances. They may communicate with the Bitcoin node. They may generate output descriptors, finalize PSBTs, broadcast PSBTs, and so forth. And then the off-chain worker then may write back to storage, which is then read back by the web client. These deliverables are in 4 repos. I've pinned them here in our organization. Of course, there's our Substrate implementation, the web client, BDK services, and the codec that I mentioned, the NPM package that we extracted. This is our simple web application, Vue.js Quasar application for navigating native Bitcoin vaults. Just a couple menu items so far. Vaults, don't have any yet. I'll create one in a second. And the XPub for the user. I have just 2 users set up in my Chrome Polkadot.js plugin. So I'll just scan my XPub. I've generated this on the Blue Wallet mobile app. It scans it in, uses the codec, and here I could now set that onto the XPub. I don't think you can see this part, but it's just putting in my password for the Polkadot.js extension. And there it's been, now that's been added. So if I look at user 1 and user 2, both of them have an XPub assigned. So here I'll create a vault. I will put in a couple addresses for the cosigners. This is an area the UX will be improving. So that we will know, know which addresses have XPubs and would therefore be eligible to be used in a vault. But for now, we just paste them in. Approving in Polkadot.js browser plugin. All right, and now my vault's been created. I'm listed here. Vault user 1 is the owner. And here I can also see the details of the different users, create proposal. This is going to be part of milestone number 2, so that's what we're about to start working on. And of course I can delete the vault. Now back with the vault created, here you can see, the 2 cosigners, the threshold. As I mentioned, create new proposal. It's not developed yet, but here I can export the descriptor, and you're not going to be able to see this on my phone, but I can scan this QR code, and it will import the wallet, this multisig wallet, directly into Blue Wallet, and of course it already knows that my phone is the one that generated one of the private keys, and now my wallet's able to sign transactions on behalf of this vault. All right, I've imported exported that vault from native Bitcoin vaults back to Blue Wallet and shared that vault just with myself over email. And so I'll just show that quickly. You can see test vault for demo. It conveys, even the name. That's part of the QR code. And here you can see, if you look at these fingerprints, we've got, let's see, 0CD is one of them. That's this one. User 2, D6B is this one. And of course, the third one, 478, is here. So this is the encoding format that's used for the QR code importing and exporting vaults in and out of Blue Wallet and native Bitcoin vaults. So then back to the proposal milestone, we showed how we've integrated the BDK services, how we are setting the data onto the pallet, how the off-chain worker is picking up some of those and calling the services when needed. I showed how we're communicating between the web client and the signer device, Blue Wallet, and so really communicating both ways, both to the web app and to the pallet, also back and forth between the services, and then back to the mobile device for the transactions to be signed. It kind of seems like a lot of hops, but that's just the nature of this application, and ensuring that it's as secure as possible, signing natively the native Bitcoin transactions directly using these Substrate tools, and that was really the heavy lifting of this project was so far has been to make sure those all those components are communicating with each other correctly, and then for the next milestone, which we have already been working on but not quite ready to present, we'll present this in a few more weeks. That will include a bit more polished on the client, of course, signing the PSBTs, moving those PSBTs back into the pallet. The signers will be able to asynchronously sign those transactions and don't have to sign them in any particular order. And then they'll be able to be finalized by the BDK services, broadcast to the Bitcoin node. And of course, we'll add, some additional bells and whistles to the UI, like transaction history, linking out to Bitcoin Block Explorer, also the polkadot.js.org site to access the chain directly, to view some of more detail, and we'll make sure that we're hosting a full instance as well. Thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions.